Every studio has a goal in mind, a reason why it was put together, a vision for the type of sound or sounds that will be recorded and created there. Welcome to Sound Better Slider. Over time, some studios may expand, add or change equipment, and try to accommodate more types of sessions. But in many cases, especially with home studios, it's far more practical to specialize, focusing on one or two types of recording rather than any possible session imaginable. This video is the first in a playlist about purpose-built studios for different types of creators. Whether it's just for yourself or for others like you, the big question is, what's your main purpose? If you're completely new to home studio gear, maybe check out the first playlist on this channel. But let's take a look at some common types of studios and how they can be optimized for your specific needs.
Thing 1.
The beat maker. If you're making beats or producing electronic music, your main focus is likely going to need to be on a powerful computer, a MIDI controller, and virtual instrument options. Acoustic treatment is less relevant here for capturing sound, but still relevant for more accurate monitoring. So investing in good studio speakers or correction software for speakers and headphones can help. Your DAW choice here can be important because your preferred workflow and availability of stock virtual instruments is a big consideration. If you haven't already, check out my DAW video here. You should try and stay aware of new third-party virtual instruments that hit the market, as they may offer sonic upgrades to help you stay current with sound choice options.
Thing 2.
The Vocalist Studio. If your focus is on vocals, whether you're a singer, rapper, or voiceover artist, your setup needs to prioritize vocal clarity and isolation. A higher quality condenser or dynamic microphone suited to your voice, a pop filter, and proper acoustic treatment will help eliminate unwanted room noise and reflections. Since vocal processing is a big part of the workflow, having a reliable preamp, a good selection of plugins for EQ, compression, and perhaps reverb or other effects, and a comfortable monitoring system is essential. If you're working with backing tracks, a well-organized DAW template with easy punch-ins and editing can streamline your process.
Thing 3.
The Singer-Songwriter Studio. If you're a solo artist who sings and plays an instrument like guitar or piano, you need a small but purposeful few inputs, which means your interface does not need a very high input count. If professional-sounding acoustic guitar and acoustic piano is a must for you, that will probably require a condenser microphone, small or large, in a quiet space, which is easier said than done. If you can get the job done with an electric guitar, or if you're satisfied with the sound of direct electrified acoustic guitar, or in the piano world, if you don't mind playing a weighted electric keyboard, then your setup can be a lot less expensive. But you should still make sure that your environment is at least relatively free of natural room reverb. If you do have a quiet space to record, then a condenser microphone will also be useful for vocal recording. However, if you're all electric and virtual instrument based without a sound isolation room, you may consider a high-quality dynamic microphone for vocals, as it will pick up less background noise. If your productions are going to be only one instrument plus vocals, you may not need too many virtual instruments besides maybe one good sample-based piano sound. However, if you're looking to build a virtual band-style instrumentation around your song, you may want to consider either a DAW that contains a lot of usable stock virtual instruments, or carefully scout the market for specific third-party instrument plugins that you like the sound of.
Thing 4.
The Mixing and Mastering Studio. If you're primarily mixing or mastering, you don't need much in terms of live recording capability. Instead, your priority will be on a tuned listening environment, high-quality monitors, and a range of reference playback options, as well as plugins, possibly analog gear, and even room correction software can make a huge difference. Provided you are receiving trackouts or stems as audio files, your DAW doesn't need to excel at recording, it just needs to be something you're comfortable in and you like the mixing workflow of. However, it could be advisable to invest in multiple DAWs for the sake of broad compatibility with client session files. This depends on your workflow and relationship to the client and their project, whether you want to be able to open their native session in their native DAW, or whether they're completely finished and you're just getting audio files that have been exported.
Thing 5.
The Single Instrument Studio. If you're a musician who plays one instrument with proficiency and want to offer your services as a professional session musician who records themselves, Your studio setup should be tuned to your specific needs, which could vary significantly between instruments. Since this is a broad category covering everything from guitar to violin to drums, I'm considering making specific videos for each of these instruments. Let me know in the comments which instrument-based studio you'd like to see covered first.
Thing 6.
The band studio. If you're recording full band arrangements, and by full band I mean 3, 4, 5-person bands, whether you're a solo multi-instrumentalist or working with a small group, your audio input count of your interface will be one of the first things you should consider. If drums are being recorded, how many microphones are dedicated to drum recording is the first question to ask yourself, then go from there. The more inputs your interface has, the more expensive it will generally be. And if you are starting out on a budget, an interface with onboard preamps will save you from the expense of external preamps. You can always add them later, but you need one preamp per microphone for multi-track recording. An interface with a lot of preamps on board will perhaps cost more than one without comparatively, but if you are buying them all separately, that can be even more expensive in most cases, although it can potentially get you a more desirable sound with less post-processing. You'll probably want to find a balance between live instrument tracking and virtual production elements. Most bands like the option of adding a few virtual instrument element layers beyond traditional instruments. And if your band has a keyboard player, it's possible to utilize those sounds live as well. A drum kit or a live guitar amp or bass amp setup might call for additional room treatment and isolation, multiple microphone options, and a DAW that makes multi-track editing smooth and efficient.
Thing 7.
The Content Creator Studio. Maybe you're not just making music, you're also producing podcasts, live streams, or making long or short-form video content. In that case, you'll need a versatile space that balances good audio quality with video quality and setup flexibility. You'll need to consider your camera gear, useful camera angles, lighting, and possibly even some noise reduction solutions if you're in a less than ideal space for sound. There are entire channels dedicated to content creation studios, especially from a video expertise point of view, like Think Media for instance, and I've learned a lot about this area from other creators. So I'm likely to stay in my lane here on this channel and focus mostly on music recording, but I have done a fair amount of video podcast engineering, so if anyone has a question about recording and editing podcasts for other creators or businesses, let me know in the comments and I can circle back to that. No matter what kind of studio you're building, the key is to optimize for your needs rather than trying to do everything at once. So I want to hear from you. What type of musician or creator are you? Drop a comment below and let me know what kind of studio build I should cover next. And if you found this helpful,
Please subscribe, it keeps the channel alive.
and let's keep making better recordings together. See you in the next one.
Sign up for the newsletter. It's not spam, it's way, way better.